Hi, everybody. It's Richard from Conscious Marketer, and I'm joined by Kylie. Hi, Kylie.
Hey there.
And today we're going to be talking about intention and marketing. And this is probably one of the most powerful concepts. If you can understand both your intention and the intention with the people you work with, it can really superpower when you show up online. So we can't wait to share this episode with you today. You know, there's a lot of different concepts in marketing. And I think one of the ones that is probably most important, not just for marketing, but in anything in life is basically intention. And I think it's Wayne Dyer has a book that's called The Power of Intention, which is a pretty good book. And I think the intention you bring into your marketing and into your online world is really important. So I thought we could really kind of highlight why that is and why you really want to get clear on your intention, because often you can say the same thing or even offer the same kind of thing into the market, but depending on your level of intention, it changes how people receive it. And it also changes the potential for them to even get a transformation with the product as well. So this is, I think intention has an outward aspect, which is what it is, but there's an inward energetic to it. Kylie, how about you? What's your concepts of intention and how does it affect you in your marketing?
Yeah. Well, first I was thinking when you were talking about all of that the intention that you have regarding like your mission and why you want to do your business and all of that, which I think most of the people in this group and most of the people that work with us, that's dialed for them. Like they know why they want to do what they want to do, but they don't necessarily know how that connects with their marketing, or that their intention in their marketing can be the same as their intention in their business. So that's one thing when you were speaking, I was like, oh, that's it. That's what we need to tell everybody. I'm going to go tell everybody I know. And in terms of what I have done over the years is that my very first marketing campaign that I did do when I was doing some Facebook ad campaigns, I was able to really get great results from the very get-go. And I had been working for some marketing companies before that, so I wasn't coming in cold. I knew some things, but I didn't know enough about marketing to get the results that I got. It was a multi-million-dollar campaign in 12 weeks. And I was writing all the ads. I didn't write the emails. I didn't do the videos. I didn't do the sales pages. So obviously it takes a team, but the ads were performing very, very well. And a lot of it was the energetics that I put into it. You know, I sat there and I was like praying and meditating and like, okay, how do I do this? What do I say? And I do believe that people can actually feel it. I believe that what you say and how you write and how you shoot your videos does matter a lot. But without that magnetism, it's not going to go very far. You could have the best video in the world. In fact, I was looking at this guy's Facebook page yesterday because he said something to me on my page and I didn't know him. Looked at his page and I was like, oh my God, you know, not to be rude, but I was feeling the lack of magnetism and the materialism without any other intention. And I was like, ooh, I'm glad I don't, I go into that every once in a while. And I was like, I'm glad I'm not feeling that way today, So,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because when somebody sends me a friend request, I'll pop onto their profile. And I don't know, I'd say like at least once a week, I get somebody that tries to add me that's, I would call kind of like cheesy internet marketer person, and it's normally like how to close high ticket sales or something like this. And it's the intention to sell without any underlying value. And so I if we just step back, I think one of the core premises is there's always an intention, whether you're conscious of the intention or not. There's always something that is below the surface of why you're doing something. And so I think one of the best questions you can ask before you create any kind of content is, what is my intention when I put this content out? So it could be an email, it could be an ad, it could be a video or a post. And, the intention that we hold for a lot of our free stuff, especially, is We want to provide values, and I'm pretty clear. Like, I want to provide value so that you can kind of get a taste of what it is, and then we want to invite you in later to work with us if you feel called. But my intention is that you get some value before you even work with us. And then if you don't work with us, that's fine. But I want to have a very clear intention of providing value versus putting somebody else down, or, you know, like other people come with different angles in the market, or being divisive or separating people. Like, and so like you can look at every piece of media and you go, what is the intention behind this? You'll get interesting answers that aren't so noble, is what I would say.
100%.
And, you know, I'll give you a framework of intention, and this is kind of how I think it. It's not binary. It's not like, oh, my intention is totally altruistic and pure versus like, you know, the person's intention is evil and they want to, you know, pillage or whatever. Like, I think that it's a continuum concept. And so I think on the low side, and you can see this, I could go on and show other people, and this is just where they're at. This is how they're showing up, and that's their choice or their non-choice. But on the low side, I think it's like, hey, I need to go online and post this because I need to make some money for myself, you know, and I need to sell somebody in the program so that I can buy whatever it is, a house. And I want to convince you that my stuff is the best so that you'll give me your money and enroll in my program. But the intention is more lower self-centered, ego-centered. I want to post this video to show everybody how great I am and like how much of an authority I am. And it's kind of the opposite of humility. And I would say that like this is the lower end of the spectrum. And I think most people in the Conscious Marketers Path group, you're not going to land here very often, but occasionally you get pulled there, you know, because we fall. But after a while, you never get pulled there, because if you try to do that kind of video, you know, you just feel icky. You know, it just doesn't feel right to you. And what's shockingly interesting about a lot of marketing or a lot of posts is a lot of people are in this zone. You know, a lot of people are there, and that's okay. That's just where they're at. But for us, like, you can make a different choice and stay out of that zone, because, you know, our belief is that we want to be online to help people and to be of service rather than make it about ourselves.
Yeah, I think too, as far as wanting to make money to buy a house, it's the intention, because there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
You know, we're not really taking a stance of poverty here. And I know there's a lot of spiritual communities and a lot of spiritual traditions where poverty is glorified. And interestingly enough, I had a spiritual teacher who's like legit, she's amazing. She just slices me. It's so cool. But she told me, like, maybe 2-3 years ago, she's a world-class astrologer. And she said, you know, Kylie, back in the Piscean age, it was about poverty. It was about being a monk in the cave. It was about, you know, begging for your meal and everything like that. But she was like, and I don't know if you care about astrology. If you don't, then take it with a grain of salt. But she said, now that we're in the Aquarian age, it's really about having flourishing businesses, learning how to like play with commerce in a positive way. And she said that expressing spiritually has a lot to do with that. And she said, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a lot of your old friends in business. And I was like, yeah, it's so true though. So, but it's really about, I think, and Richard, correct me if I'm wrong, I think what he was saying, and I think it could have been misunderstood, that's why I'm touching back around to it, is that if your only intention is to be materialistic, then you're probably exploiting the people that you're connecting with or trying to sell to, or at the very least, you don't really care about them. They're a means to an end. You know, your marketing is a means to an end. It's not an end in and of itself, and it isn't infused with the type of value that we're talking about today. So I just wanted to make that distinction, because there have been times in my own life where I felt like making money was bad. Yeah. Business was bad, marketing was bad, and I don't see it that way anymore. It's neutral. You can give it the meaning you want to give it. And so That's important to me. I feel very passionate about helping spiritual people get into their power, reclaim their power, be successful, get their warrior alchemist on. As I consider that my total responsibility in life.
Yeah, and I would also say that. So thanks for clarifying that. Yeah, and so yeah, it's not so much that you're making money to buy the house. It's more that when you go online, that's your first priority. You're thinking about yourself versus thinking about how you serve others, which is a different intention, you know. Or so I think that, you know, when somebody leads from a lower base state, then this is what happens. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with charging money and making money and buying a house or whatever else you want, you know. So yeah, so this lower end of the continuum is this kind of, you know, it's pretty clear to see when somebody's there, which is really interesting. It's kind of like that friend invite. You can go to somebody's. Normally they have these really cheesy banners that talk about sales and stuff. So if you're one of those people, you might want to rethink that.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
So I think what's interesting is there's a middle ground where the intention, it's kind of neutralized. And I actually think a lot of people get stuck in this. So let's talk about this middle, the middle range of the spectrum is what I would call neutral. It's where you're kind of going online to be helpful. You know, you've committed to doing a video once a week or posting an email or whatever it is. But the intention just lacks focus. So you're not per se like coming from a state where you're like, how can I get somebody from something? But you're also not, you also haven't clarified, you know, really why you're doing it and the impact you can have on the people. And it's kind of like a fuzzy state. And I would say that when people first get on line, especially really conscious people, I think there's this desire to serve, but what I think it lacks is this, like, for you to provide great transformation for people. I think part of your intention should be that you want people to work with you, you know, because that's how you can do it. And in this middle state, you're kind of like afraid to go there, and you're kind of like, look, I'm going to provide value, but I'm never going to ask for the sale, you know, or I'm never going to share with people that I even have a program. Or if I do, it's going to be like the last 5 seconds of the video or whatever. And then I'm going to lower my voice and almost be ashamed to say it because I'll feel embarrassed. And so I think this middle zone is where a lot of people find themselves, and that's okay wherever you're at. This is just to bring awareness to wherever you're at, and you can make a choice if you want to slide along the spectrum, however. Anyway, so I think it's kind of interesting, this middle zone, this fuzzy zone, this blurry zone, you know, where it's not, your intention isn't clear. It's not per se negative, but it's also like you just haven't got it dialed in yet.
Yeah, one of the things that in our Conscious Launch Accelerator program and also in the Power of Conscious Marketing that we taught last year a couple of times, I have a teaching on social media and one on emails. And one of the things that I taught, I made this up. I thought it was cool. I like it when I make cool stuff up. You should too. But you should like it when you make up cool stuff, not when I do. By the way, that sounded very arrogant. But I teach people, I call it from content to call to action, because I feel like just like Richard was saying, there's like this content and content and content and content, and you're kind of hoping like, maybe someone will come to me, or I don't know if I want anyone to come to me, or all these different possible perspectives. And I try to teach people how to turn a single piece of content into a call to action, into, hey, click this link, or buy this thing, or drop me a comment, send me a message, all these things. And when we learn how to do that, our content creation is fun, but it's also purposeful. right? We're talking about intention here. There's intention. And so that's really important. And so I love teaching that, and people get really frustrated with it, which is great because it lets me know that I'm on the right path, you know, that I'm pushing a button or two, which I think is a powerful thing as a mentor. I'm not a coach, but a guide through the marketing jungle. So that's one thing that I want you to all start thinking about is, am I asking for anything? We don't do it in every post. Like, I teach them how to do it, but I'm not saying go out and do it 5 times a day, every day for 7 times a week, you know, 7 days a week. Do it sometimes, practice it, do it sometimes, have the skill to be able to do it. And that's kind of how you start to move up to that higher level, which I know that Richard is also going to be talking about.
Yeah, that's so great. And what I think is interesting about the middle level too is, in the back of your mind, you really do want somebody to work with you, but you just haven't figured out a way to verbalize it. So that's what Kylie was talking about. And a lot of times, you know, like in webinars and stuff, I'll say at the beginning of the webinar, hey, like, we're going to give you a ton of value in this webinar. And at the end, I'm going to share an offer with you. So if you want to go deeper, you can. And so I love that, because right at the beginning, I'm just being truthful. I'm being transparent. I'm being honest. And then when I get to that point in the webinar where I'm going to share the offer and say, okay, I'm just going to take a few minutes to share this offer with you, and the main teaching part is over. And so you're just, there's nothing like weird about that. You're just inviting people in, and it's not pushy. It's like, hey, if you're ready, or if you want to go deeper with us, then go deeper. But it takes all the weirdness of like, I have to slip this in, or I have to put it in. And, you know, you need to train yourself and learn how to do that so that it's super comfortable. And so that brings us to this highest level where I think you can set an intention and have a really high level intention to serve people. And really, to do that, you know that you need to be on regular calls with people. You need to maybe even have live events. Like Kylie and I did a live event with some of our mastermind. And I say in like 3 days, we got through, like, we had met with the group for 6 months online, but in those 3 days, there was magic. So there's real magic to working with somebody live too, you know, as now that the world's opening up again. So higher level intentions are being of service, to inspire people, to bring more joy, to help people feel more loved, accepted, to overcome obstacles, to help heal through trauma or tragedy, you know. So these things you bring to there to help people go to a higher level of themselves and actually do the work instead of thinking of the work, to even show them it's possible. So, you know, you can have a higher level intention to be devoted to serving others, but then in a specific video, you can think through, look, in this video, I really want to be inspirational. I want to share a couple of stories of transformation. Or, hey, in this video, I want to share how you can use comedy to like set a higher context and help people laugh at the whole thing that we have to do and whatever that is. Or so you can, the most important aspect of this higher level of intention is clarity, transparency. And then what I think is interesting at this highest level is then there's, it's like vibrational essences or threads of what you can give to the market. So inspiration is one version, joy is another, love is another. And so you can be clear on what you want to transmit in whatever you're doing. Say it's a video, and then really go into that energy, and then come from a place of service as the higher level context. And then, you know, and then if you want to invite people to work with you or not, it doesn't matter. But then at least the intention is super clear. And then you're going to have the biggest impact when that intention is clear, I think, on the highest point. So this is really, it's a higher level of operating. And the cool thing is it's not that hard. You just have to put your awareness on it so that right before you go into there, you put yourself into a state where you're in that feeling flow state of the intention that you want to transmit.
That's so awesome. I love that. And for me, I think you can even like take these values or these energies and you can make a statement about them, like what's kind of the opposite. Because one of the things I did that has been really helpful for me to listen to get over myself, and also that's really, really resonated with the people I've helped in 10 years. I made up this statement one day, and it's, your vision is bigger than your fear. And so I'm speaking into vision. And what gets in the way of vision? Fear. I'm afraid my vision is too big. I'm afraid nobody will like it. I'm afraid nobody will buy from me. And usually when people hook into that vision, they get over all those fears and they're like, oh my God, I did say I would do this and I am committed to this. And so I think it's also something that you can play with in multiple ways to create a sense of accountability and love and happiness and all these things for yourself and your content and the people you want to help. It's like really, really, it's like a triple. I always call it a win-win-win. When I was an affiliate manager, I'd call it a win-win-win. And that's kind of what we're doing here as well. It's like you're winning, they're winning, and the work is winning.
Yeah, that's so good. And, you know, I would just leave everybody with, you know, just start to think about this, and really the couple things that you need to do are really quite simple. Before you go in to do any piece of marketing, just go, what's my intention? And when you're looking at things in the market, what I would say is that there's the intention of the teacher, there's the intention of the product, and then there's the intention of the company. And sometimes those three things can be actually very different. But if you're like a solopreneur or somebody that manages their own company, you can control the intention of all three of those items. And then the last thing I wanted to share with you is, by changing the intention of whatever you're putting out, you change the consciousness of the information that you're transmitting. Ooh. And so, yeah, it's like such an exciting concept. And so
that's deep.
if you think about that, so it like, you know, I sometimes think about like the simple things in life, like serving a cup of coffee to somebody or whatever, and or dedicating something you do to a partner or to God even, you know. Mm-hmm. And so the intention that you come from changes the consciousness level of it. And so you might as well choose the highest level that's going to do the most good when you show up in marketing. And then it doesn't really, like, marketing kind of just dissolves and it just becomes something who you are online versus something that you're doing to other people, which is a lower level. Yeah. So I think it's definitely something to ponder. And then you can think back, like, what in my previous marketing, where was I, where am I at now? Where do I want to be? And then you just start from where you're at right now and start to put higher intention in your marketing. And what I think you'll find is that it becomes easier. The words flow through you. You don't have to plan as much. New ideas will drop in. And coming from that higher level, I think it won't be something that you have to do or need to do, or it's a checkbox, that middle zone where it's fuzzy, but it's something that you look forward to. It's like, hey, I'm looking forward to this. And then it's kind of game on, because then the people that you're meant to will be attracted to you.
Yeah, totally. It does become fun. I was writing some promotional posts and emails for a summit that we're part of, and I was getting like real nerdy with it. You know, I was like, let me think of a time where this was happening in my life that relates to what it is that we're talking about in the summit. And I was like, the stuff I was coming up with, I was like, where did I even come up with this from? Where's this coming from? You know, and people might like it, they might not. But the point is, I had fun, you know, and hopefully they will opt in, because I really want to support the organization who put this all together. They worked really, really hard on it. And it's not even for me. It's kind of like we're talking about. It's like, yeah, do I get benefits? Absolutely. I get amazing exposure. I'm teaching a class. I'm doing a workshop. It's really good for me in that way. It's good for Conscious Marketer. Richard is hosting it, and in Conscious Marketer is one of the sponsors. At the end of the day, what makes me the happiest is just getting as many of the people that are in my audience or community, as it were. It's not really an audience, community, to then say, hey, I want to support this. I want to be a part of this. I want to watch these videos. And so again, it's a win-win-win. It's like Richard wins, the company wins, I win, and hopefully they do too. I guess it's a win-win-win-win, but I was kind of smushing me and you together, Richard, as far as conscious marketer goes. It's making us this one side of the triangle. And, it's amazing to me because at the end of the day, all of that is really important. But the most important thing to me is that I spent an hour making this email and this post, and I had so much fun. I was like, this is a great story to share. I've never shared this before. I have no idea if people will care or not, but it's super fun for me. And so you want to get to that place in your marketing. We know, all of the people that work with us in Conscious Launch Accelerator, I won't say all, a vast majority of them came in with this idea that this could never be enjoyable. Richard's like, we work with people who hate marketing. I was like, it's true, So they come in and they're like, and if we ask them, do you like marketing? They're like, hell no. And they leave and they're like, this is amazing. Like, we love this. And so that's just like one little tiny piece of the puzzle that Richard brought up that really resonates with me right now, because it actually happened for me yesterday. I felt all this pressure. I'm like, I have to write something good, and I have to do this, and I have to show up in a good way, and I have to look good. And then I was like, no, I have to have a great time and support people. And yeah, it benefits me too. So hopefully that wasn't too off track of a rant, but I got excited to do it. And then I wanted to share it as well. It kind of fit into what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, I think this topic of attention, I think we're going to swing back to it like a lot of the topics, because it's something that's it's really, if you can get this, then it changes the game. And you can just reach, you can, with the same amount of content or even less, you can have a higher level of positive impact in the world with whatever you're putting out there in the market. And that's good. That's all good stuff. Bigger impact, less work, more results.
100%. Yeah. It would be good to hear in the comments below what you just like some feedback on what you think about some of these concepts, because I know a lot of visionary types really struggle with them. And I know some people love it. They get it. They're like, this is awesome. So I'd kind of like to get a temperature gauge on where the group is at with this.
Yeah, that'd be great. Share what your thoughts are on intention, and what is your intention when you go online. I'd say that we all have variants of what our intention is, but maybe there's a core base intention that you want to carry forth going forward in the future. I think it'd be good, because then we could look at it and say, hey, that's a good one, or I could integrate that into mine, or that person has a different view than me. So could go either way. Thanks, everybody, for joining us on this episode of the Conscious Marketer podcast on intention. It was great to be sharing this concept with you, and we hope will be useful to you in the future. Thanks, Kylie, for all your contributions.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And if you want to get the show notes or to download this episode, you can go to consciousmarketer.com/podcast. You can also sign up for our list there, and we look forward to having you on the next episode and seeing everybody on the next episode. Thanks. Bye for now.